Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us. If you don't mind, those of you who are guests, I'm sorry. In advance, I apologize for the strange group of people that join here at the Global Center for Christ Consciousness. They tend to be eccentric and kind of non-conformist, you know? So, which means you're one of them, so why did you create that? Can you tell me, please, what topics you want me to cover today?
Clearing out core issues.
Okay.
Doing the inner work.
What?
Doing the inner work.
True freedom.
Staying in your frequency.
Surrendering to source.
Transformation.
Wait, what did you say?
Staying in your frequency, in your center. Honesty and trust. Balance in community.
I'd like to hear your thoughts on the coronation of King Charles III.
Here are my thoughts about a coronation. I didn't know it happened. I don't know who Charles III is. That's all. That's everything I could tell you about my thoughts about such a thing is I don't know about it and don't care. No offense, but
Intimacy.
that's interesting.
Deep heart center. The voice of love.
Okay, that's good. Thank you.
Self-love without
Versus that's
yourself
it.
a humbleness still. Joining.
What was the voice one again?
The voice of love.
Voice of love. That's interesting. You know, love. Don't think that I can read anything I draw. This is another language of frequency. You know what I mean? That's what happens. So I just kind of channel that, and then it gets mixed and all that. And I don't have to write it. It's just I do that sometimes. Partly playful, but it's also in respect of what the people are asking for. The folks online. Quite an array, a large number of items. There was about 18. There was about 16-ish, and but quite a diversity. But one of the consistent ones, love, has to do with love. And before I even launch into that, in regards to love, you know, just for a moment, romantic love, because there's, you know, friendship love, there's spiritual love, there's different kinds of love. But a lot of people do ask about authentic, because one of the questions was authentic, you know, authenticity. I've said this before, but the word authentic, it comes from the Latin authenticus. And it means one who, authentic, you see? It means the author of one's own life. So to be authentic means that you're writing your own story, right? But if you're writing your own story, it also means take responsibility for the book you've written. You know, it's right. You can't just do this conveniently. You know, I'm the author of my own story when things go well. When they're not going well, I'm the victim of someone else's story. You know, step up and own. But if you're going to own all the good you want to create, you've kind of got to own. One of you brought up that shadow kinds of stuff, you know, those darker moments, clearing out the old. So when it comes to partnerships, and there's all kinds of conversations people can have around partnerships, communication, intimacy, so many different conversations or facets of partnership relating. I want to say this, though. Try to imagine, whether this is friendship, job, or partnership, it still applies. But if you want to create a healthy partnership, job, or any other topic, what kind do you want to create? Do you want one that resonates with your old self, your current self, or your future self? I mean, this is a good question I'm asking you. Because what a lot of people do is they want to order one up from their old self and have it be their new self, which makes no sense. Stop talking about what you claim you want. I want a partner that's this. Wait, I don't want to hear about them. Are you wanting to create from your old self? That's kind of easy. Just go to the same bar. You know, just go on dysfunctionalhookups.com, and there's your old self. You'll recognize some of them. Your old photo's probably still on the website. Oh, look, my profile. Needy. That's me. It's not that hard to order life, jobs, parenting skills from your old self. And sometimes we don't even order it. We think from our own self. We don't own that we have, because we're not being authentic, that we have an old self. You'll say, well, that's the way I was parented. My parents taught me this. My culture taught me that. That's still your old self. Is that all you want? Your answer would, if I asked you to answer that, would be yes or no. Only a few of you said no. Okay. That should be a loud chant that would have been no. Can I hear an amen? Whoa. Yes, Jesus. Okay. So we don't want to order from the old self. That's kind of a no-brainer with self-help communities, wouldn't you say? Saying it and meaning it are two different things, by the way. Oh, I definitely don't want anything from my old self. And then right out your mouth comes, the old patterns, I definitely don't want anything from my old self because, I've had plenty of those jerks. Well, that's your old self still talking, because you still haven't moved into authentic self and owned any of this and changed any of this. You're still hating and hurt, and so on. I remember one time I was at a wedding, and there was this gal who was very upset because her mom had passed away like a couple years before. And her parents had been together for a long time. Her mom passed away, and so dad, however, is dating now. And she, I'm like, how's it going? And she's just upset, looking really down. I'm like, what's going on? And there's music, and this is me at a wedding. First, don't invite me. But if I'm going to be there, I will be about my Father's work. I can't just start do, the things that people do at these weddings, I cannot understand that sort of thing. It's just nowhere in there. I've looked and it's not there. I just sit like, seriously? Anyway. So I say, well, lean forward. She's sitting in a chair, and I pull a chair up in front of her. I say, lean. So I put her right here because it's so noisy she can't hear. So I put her face right here to where she can hear because I'm speaking to her ear. And I'm saying, what's going on? Well, can you believe it? Believe what? Can you believe he's dating? He's seeing some other woman. I think I can believe that. I understand. Now, has this woman been with your dad while he was married to your mom? And did she murder your mother? That would be upsetting, I understand. That's not what happened. 2 years later, he decided to feel something again and be in a romantic relationship. Well, it's not right. I said, wait, you're hating, he's dating. It's all the same. People are in their pain and they're looking for something, okay? So you're hating and I'll forgive you for hating. He's dating, let's forgive him for dating. Let people off the hook. Because we're either coming from our thriving selves or our wounded selves. Both are understandable. Both have their place. Which one do you want to affirm for your life? Obviously the healed one. But you can't get there without healing the broken one. So, when it comes to, do you want to create a relationship from your old self? In a self-help community, the answer is going to be no, but you have to really mean it. That means you have to be willing to not be your old self, which sometimes is going to mean a year off. It could be 3 lifetimes off of relationships. Nobody knows how long it's going to take you to work your garden, to uproot all the weeds. Some people have 1 weed. Some people have thousands. Nobody can say how long it's going to take you. Well, it's always going to be X number of months. Or you say to yourself, but Michael, I've been working on this for a year and a half. Great. How does your garden grow? Mary. It's like, what do you have in there? I didn't put the rocks in there. I didn't put the weeds in there. If you have some gardening to do, I'm sorry that it's inconvenient, but sit and own that. If you say, well, but I want to be free of my old self, but you've been married and still have resentments, but you've been married 10 times and still have resentments about it, it's going to take longer for you to clear that stuff than if it was a 1-week date. It's going to take longer. So just be reasonable. Do you want to create from your current self? And this is where it starts to get tricky, because most of us cognitively could totally say no to the old self. But it starts to get tricky. New self. And here's what some people will say. That depends on how long it'll take for my future self to show up. You see what I'm doing there? That's what some of them are saying, basically. Do I answer yes on the current self, or do I wait for Michael to bring up the option of future self? I'm open to waiting for the future self as long as it shows up tomorrow. But I'm not going to go out dating my current self, dating. I'll skip the future self. See, that's where it starts to get tricky. This is where we bargain ourselves. And again, we're not talking just romance. Settling for a job. Do you want one from your old self, your current self, or your new self? So think of it like this. There's a button you can push. We call it the manifestation button, the law of attraction button, etc. There's a button, and there is one. It's called consciousness. And the thing is, mastery has to do with knowing what the buttons represent and then taking responsibility for which one you push and why. Victims are, I didn't push that button. I don't know why this person showed up in my life. They betrayed me like everybody else. I don't know why it happened. All unconscious victimization. So you have an option. What if it's true that all thoughts create and contribute to your experience? And it is true that that happens. If that's true, then that means, I'm asking you, if you are without relationship or job or whatever else, I'm asking you, when is it right to push the button to say now? If I'm still coming from my old self, I would definitely not be wise to be pushing that button. Well, I can't wait. God, I've been without a partnership for like 3 days. So I've got to push that button. That's not going to go well. All right. But let's say that we're really beyond that kind of ridiculous behavior, that kind of addictive behavior, immediately manifesting constantly people or jobs or whatever, things that just don't last and they're not real. There's no substance. So, but I'm a different person now, Michael. I'm not going to create that. I'm going to create from my new self. Your new self is what? Well, I've been meditating for 3 days now, and so I think I have a whole new self, a whole new outlook. Have you gone into recovery yet? No. But I'm feeling pretty good anyway, and I don't really think I need. So what you want is a drinking buddy. Let's own that. Your current self is still drinking. You want a drinking buddy. Your current self is still saying, all men are this, all women are this, opinionated, totally living off programs. Are you sure you want to push the now button? I mean, I'm still hearing some messed up stuff. If you go to a counselor and you can hear a lot of wicked stuff still coming out, I would wait. Because if I push the I want to have a partner now button, the stuff you're talking about with your counselor is likely going to show up. I just don't understand, and I'm not saying you shouldn't have stuff to talk about with your counselor, of course, but I'm talking about the vibe when you talk about it. It's one thing to say, well, I've noticed I have this pattern and I'm working on it. That's different than nobody likes me. I'm never going to amount to anything. That's dangerous to say. If I'm never going to amount to anything and I'm totally unlovable and nobody ever finds me attractive and I push the now button, that can't go well. It's like now and then, this thing just bursts out of your solar plexus called a partnership. And it's like, oh, well, how did that happen? So before you push the relationship button, get an exorcism, do some personal work. Be different. Be different. Now, how much towards your new self is Michael saying you should go? To each his own. I would kind of say, I would like to kind of be there. Do I have to be fully there? No, just substantially there. Does that mean I never have the wounds of the past? Not at all. But my future self deals with them differently than my old self. Do you hear what I just did there? My current self is starting to wake up. But just because I'm starting to wake up doesn't mean this is the perfect moment to manifest relationship. Because the universe will respond to my consciousness. And if my consciousness is still lots of broken self wounded self, undeserving self, it's dangerous. Yeah, but I'm in a new self now. I'm starting to get counseling and I'm starting to get into recovery, etc. Then that means you're starting to be a better partner to somebody and you're starting to be safe enough to manifest somebody. But for me personally, starting isn't good enough. You follow? I wouldn't want, because all I'm going to get is the start of a decent relationship. I would like there to be some substance under this. I'd like, some ground under my feet. I feel grounded. I really, truly know what I'm doing. I'm not perfect in my holy Christ self or whatever yet, but at least I can say, where would I like to be spiritually and personally 5 years from now? Think of some things where you'd like to be. In terms of finances, where would you like to be? Just like in a sentence, just in a few words, just think of it for yourselves. Where would you like to be in 5 years from now financially? And whatever the words are, prosperous, retired, whatever, okay? Where would you like to be romantically? What kind of partnership? Like this, healthy, forget, don't let your mind get caught up in hot. I want somebody that looks hot. Because that's somewhere back here in the old self, and it didn't go very well. In yoga, the term for hot is synonymous with the word shallow. Swear to God. Okay? The word hot is synonymous with shallow. And you kind of get what you pray for, ask for, pay for. All right? So, do you really just want hot? You know what hot does? It burns out quickly. It'll also burn you. I want warmth. I want substance, warmth, beautiful. It just feels great. I don't need bipolar relationships. Hot, cold, hot, cold. It's just, I don't need that. I don't need that type of date, that kind of partner. But it's so stimulating. What that means is I lack my own sense of excitement inside, so I need a stimulant. So you can date cocaine or you can marry cocaine. It's a stimulant. But how well is that going to go? You end up with bleeding noses either way. It just happens, man. It comes through. Okay? Sometimes I imagine, on the other side, they're like, give him this line. And they just enjoy watching the view, This will really mess everybody up, right? This will mess with their minds. Let's get romantic conversation, bleeding noses. Everybody thinks of the two going hand in hand, right? No. Anyway, so what are we going to do? Where do we want to go? Warmth. But I can't wait. I'm 95, Michael, and I haven't dated in 40 of those years. I'm ready now. Before I die, I want a partner. Careful. Maybe you're not talking from the old self. Maybe you're just talking from the current self that's still scared. But listen, man. You're on the cross next to Jesus saying, Jesus, listen, I'm about to die. Can you find me a partner? And Jesus says to those two, because the one voice is like, hook us up quickly. And the other's like, no, I'm good. And one of those two, you know which one, he says to him, you today will be with me in paradise. It means when you're 90-something and you're going, I need a partner before I leave. And you go, no, you know what I need? Is just this. God is enough. I'm not saying don't date. I'm saying find the center of righteous consciousness. And then if you die the next day like you were afraid to be dying alone, you're in God. You're one with the universe. That's better than satisfying the need that your ego told you had. You don't really have a need. Your ego tells you have a need. But don't go in the direction of black or white thinking. I'm not saying this has to do with go without a partner. The Lord wants us to have no money except to the church that's getting it all, over in, the Vatican or wherever it happens to be, depending on your choice of poison. What they say in drinking, what's your poison? So, whatever your choice of drink would be, that's fine, but it's not black or white. It's not so extreme. The idea is I'm okay. And from the okay, my present self starts to come forward into my new self. I'm at peace. That doesn't mean relationship is over here, no relationship is over here. I didn't say that at all. We're programmed those things. God wants you to have no money, no partnerships, no whatever, other than procreation so you can make more children that'll add to the numbers of the members in our church. That's what some of that was about. Instead, I am as God created me, and I will to be the Christ on earth. And instead of, shielding ourselves from the world, it's a naughty world and shame and vows of poverty and chastity and so on, it becomes, I feel so alive. I love the idea of sharing myself intimately, laughter, creativity. They forgot to tell you that when you plug into God, you're going to want to paint. You're going to want to dance because you feel this spirit. King David, he just goes into this trance of like, oh my God. Like when they're telling Jesus he's coming into Jerusalem and the people are singing and chanting, just like Ananda's playing and we start singing along, right? There's this vibe in the room. Now the old school people, the churchy people, the Pharisees and elders and politicians of the world, what did they tell Jesus? They said, shut these people up. They're disturbing the peace. They're expressing the peace. They feel the peace of God. The Pharisees are saying they're disturbing the peace, meaning my intellectual version of peace, which means everybody be quiet unless we tell you otherwise. That's not organic at all. These people were feeling something. So Jesus then says, when they're telling him to shut all these people up, he says, if I told them to be quiet, the rocks would start to sing. He's saying the vibrations are so high right now. The whole universe is singing. When they heard Jesus is born as a baby and they heard peace on earth and goodwill to man. Do you understand? Who said that? Well, the angels, let's say. But I'm saying to you, every molecule was saying it. Something so brilliant was happening that they heard this voice. When they heard Jesus and the dove descends on him, and this is my beloved child in whom I'm well pleased, that is the mother. That is the Holy Spirit. It's not an entity saying intellectually and verbally with vocal cords, I like this Jesus guy. This is the Holy Spirit of God that is all matter, behind all matter, that is the embodiment of God's love. She is everywhere. So technically, everything was saying, this is my beloved child in whom I'm well pleased. Not a spirit. Everything was saying it. Every particle of my being was saying it. See? And goodwill, to all man, peace on earth. When Jesus was born, can you imagine feeling the same perfect love everyone in every molecule, every atom, subatomic particle, and wave is saying, peace on earth. That's huge. You're not hearing it, you're feeling that statement. Right? It's like, wow. And then it happens again and again throughout these moments that we think are just kind of linear stories or miraculous stories. Everything is saying this. Peace on earth, goodwill to man. Everything is saying, this is my beloved child in whom I'm well pleased. Who's it talking about? Jesus. But it's also talking about the Christ in all of us. The Spirit of God loves the Christ in all of us. You are my beloved children in whom I am well pleased. Not when you decide to behave according to a church or a state. You are as God created you. Does that mean my broken self? No, because that's not the part that God created. So where is that part? I can't know it if I keep pushing the button to have relationships and jobs based on my old self. It doesn't make any sense. I'm looking for a new life. Push, 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 push. It doesn't make any sense. So we'll settle for the current life. Choose your poison, in this world. You want to settle? Choose your poison. Where's your weak spot going to be? Well, I'm okay waiting weeks for a job or a better, healthier partnership. I'm okay waiting weeks. Choose your poison. Weeks, months, what do you want to do here? No, I want to wait until I know. Can I say to myself, I actually confidently feel healthy enough that if I push the button today, what I see will not frighten me. See, as soon as you go, well, they don't totally fit the impression I have for a healthy future self, but I think I can change them. Just stop, hands up, back away from the denial. Just come on, go back. And that's not easy. It is not easy. Whatever you're doing, whether it's waiting for this thing to happen, we're looking for miracles and we want them when we want them. We have forgotten how to completely trust in the Spirit of love, the Spirit of God. That everything is okay. I'm trying to manipulate my life to go a certain way so that I don't feel so off. To use other people for part of that, to use other people. Listen, I'm feeling lonely. I need you to step in here a little bit, okay? Now we're in a relationship. Just be quiet and hang out. That's not thriving. It's manipulating a life. Where is the, oh my God? Now again, it's a pyramid. There are less people at the top than there are at the bottom of the pyramid. If you're looking for just anybody, there's lots. The dating pool is great at the bottom of the pyramid. What kind of person would you like to date? Anybody. Anybody will do. There you go. Doesn't matter if they're a cornerstone at the base of the pyramid. I don't care. Anybody will do. But when you start growing in integrity and self-worth, then what's going to happen is, oh my God, I'm growing. Oh, this is amazing. Wait, where did everybody go? That's going to become a rude awakening. You're going to have that moment of, wait, tears, God, I was improving myself. Why did the dating pool shrink? Why would you do this to me? And God's like, oh, you people, you have no comprehension of oneness. God is saying, come on, man, So I have grown in my self-worth. I can look around and go, oh my God, one minute there was everybody that I could date. Now there's 3 people, and one lives in Madagascar, and one's in New Zealand. There are probably none locally that I could stop. You only need one. If you want to date only one, you only need one. The miracle can happen. But how okay are you already at peace? Because if you say, I'm at peace, where are they? You're still chomping at the bit. I'm at peace means, and whatever happens, happens. It's people around you are not going to understand your crazy behavior. They're going to go, where's the girl we used to know? Where's the guy we miss her? Where's that needy girl? Where's the one that was going to get the right guy and bring me grandchildren? Tell her, have another kid, have them give you grandchildren. I'm, like Jesus said, did you not know I would be about my Father's work? Why aren't you married? I was married by the time I was, half your age. All these kinds of things that people will say. Just say to them, thanks for sharing. Did you not know I would be about my Father's work? Not literally say that, but it's kind of fun to shine some light on these things. I was married at half your age, and you've been married 5 times since. Like in my own household, my mother could have said, Michael, your father and I have been married for 50 years. And I could have honestly said to her, do you know I've never seen you smile? That was true. I've never heard you laugh, and I've never seen you smile. Now, would I be right to say, accurate? Yes. Would I wanted to say something like that? No, because it would cause more harm than good. But if she were pushing the envelope about how I should do as she has done, there is a point where you might be able to say to somebody, tactfully, but you know what? You don't seem like you were happy all that time. There's tactful ways to bring those things up. But am I trying to hurt her by saying that, or am I actually trying to educate her? And I'm educating her. And it's right to educate. When it's loving and tactful, it's right to educate. So the world doesn't always get these kinds of things. And, when you talk about, one of you asked about inner work, that's part of what we're talking about here. The inner work. The inner work isn't a day or a week. This is a lifestyle. And it's not like that I sometimes choose, you know, this, what you see is what you get. You see? I mean, this is me. It's not, it starts off as something you're doing. First, you'll start off with not doing the old things. Then you're going to start doing some new things. And there's a point where you become them. It's not something you're doing or not doing. You're becoming and you're being. And that's kind of sweet. I personally, I am absolutely just as strange when I'm walking around my house alone and nobody's around. I mean, this is me. I'm eating foods that no human being would eat because it's just, you know, silly stuff, junk food or whatever. And I would just walk around and I'll just blurt into a song out of the blue, just like I would do here. This is just eccentric, kind of silly, playful me. But I suddenly burst into a prayer. And I might be in the kitchen, you know, snapping into a Kit Kat bar and a Dr. Pepper, and that might be my dinner for today, and I break them out, but I put the Dr. Pepper in the freezer. It's got to be slushy a little. I have these specific things that I love, and I do what I love, and I love what I do. If you are like, oh, I'm changing my life, so I'm going to only drink something that's organic green matter, you know, that's in a humid part of the house so that it turns more green, and then you shake it up and you drink it and you're like, you know, that's not, to me, that's not bliss. Oh no, but it's healthy, you know. You're still going to die. You're still going to die. Green teeth, but you're still going to die. If I die tomorrow after my Dr. Pepper and, you know, slushy and a Kit Kat, I'm still like this. I still feel up. Not caffeine high. I'm talking about I still feel good. I love what I do, and right? So I could be mixing up my dinner or lunch or whatever it is, and soda or something, and I might just break into a, you know, love this. Oh, you know, I love this. It feels so good to the taste and the feeling of sweetness of life. A Kit Kat, you know, I start just talking like that. And I might be going, you know, thank you, God. I just feel so good. So alive. I just feel like right now in the middle of my kitchen, I could just start dancing. This is Michael. Everybody dance now. That's me in my kitchen by myself. This is the kind of thing that could happen. You should be dancing, yeah. You know, I mean, this is me like, it's not like I'm crazy manic or something. It's just playful, silly, and fun. But it's in the moment, it's spontaneous. Are we able to live like that? Are we able to just be ourselves? You don't have to perform for others, but you also don't have to do it for yourself. God, are you watching? I'm being very careful. Only the most organic foods, because I know you favor children of yours like that. Stop. God's like, you know, come on. No, that doesn't exist. I love you. You love me as long as, no, I love you. You mean because the church said, he said, I don't love them either. I'm none of the obligatory duty, obligation, you. Well, I'm trying to be a good person, but trying. Well, why the pressure on yourself? Why don't you just pause for a minute and just say, what if I'm already home? How would I treat myself if I'm already home? I got to eat just right so that I'm holy. Stop. How would you treat yourself if you're already home? Stand there. What kind of people would you date? You now are going to take the pyramid like this. Not the world is doing it to you. You yourself go, there's just less interest in masses when it comes to dating, when it comes to foods. What would you enjoy? When some of the board members and I, if we go to do a luncheon, well, Michael, we know that you don't want to eat certain foods, and Michael, so we're going to go eat. No, don't ever bring me into the picture. I can always find bread and butter. Butter's my favorite food. I will always be able to find butter on something. It could be rice or bread. And I do. This is truly how it goes. So I tell them, do not go and eat where Michael wants to eat. And this is what I say. I want you to close your eyes and imagine what would be your favorite food today. What would make you go, oh my God, I loved going to that place. And oh my God, my favorite food. I don't even ask them what it is. I don't say, oh God, I don't want to eat in that kind of place. I ask them, what would you love? And let's eat there, right? I'll find something. It's not that complicated. I'm at peace with the bread and butter. And if they didn't have bread and butter, yeah, I might go, bummer, I might. But what happens for me, I swear, what happens for me is all I do, if they didn't have bread and butter and I sit there and look at everybody and somebody's having their cracker, either their salad, and they get their crackers, but they don't eat their crackers, I'll eat the crackers. Because I'm actually, or nothing at all, because I'm actually building excitement for when I do get home to my Kit Kats. Now, I'm telling you, this is the way my mind works. I don't go, oh, I can't believe it. You know, hate them for not having bread and butter. All I do is, when we get home, Michael, we're going to double the butter. We'll just double it when we get home. Okay. Just promise yourself better in a moment from now. Better, you know, just promise yourself good things. Don't settle. If something's not going well, look forward to the light at the end of the tunnel, whatever form that takes. I'm in this relationship. It's very challenging. It's very this. Don't just commiserate that. Also, be prepared for something wonderful. Even if you're still going into the dark night of the soul, you yourselves, don't just feel the dark night. Look forward to the light at the end of the tunnel, because this too shall pass. It's not worth hating a restaurant over, you know, a cracker or anything else for that matter. But, you know, I understand we have, you know, our human preferences. I mean, we go to a restaurant and we're like looking forward to something and they say, oh, we don't serve that on this day. That can be frustrating. And what I try to do is just shift gears into what I'm going to do, what I'm going to create. Does that make sense? So, which is synonymous with me saying, do you want to create from your old self or your future self? But I'm not talking about a future out of the moment self. I'm not talking about wishing. I'm talking about set your mind there. There's a metaphor for this. I could be in my old self, but imagine strapping like a band, a rubber band at this end, and then fastening it to your future self. You've created what's called a mental tension between these two poles. Now, what do I need to do over here? As soon as I let go, I can more quickly get to my new self. Can't do that blaming, judging, hating, etc. It's, no, I got to change the way I'm doing this. So, where do I want to be? So imagine this. What would you like your finances to look like in 5 years? What would you like relationship to look like in 5 years? What would you like your body to seem like in 5 years? Whatever the topic, job. Okay, that's where I'm going. Not wish I could go. Not wish I could go. That's where I'm going. So now if I start imagining what kinds of people would be at that job, what kinds of setting, what kind of environment, right? There's even environment. What does it feel like it would look like? Start dressing it up. Let's see, if I lived in an ideal house, what would the environment look like? The foliage, the topography, what would it seem like? Middle of a volcano, an active volcano, maybe not. Maybe not. That doesn't resonate. Back to hot, okay, dates. What would it look like? See, immediately for me, greenery, love it. And if I can bring water in, ooh. See, that's me. That's me. Love it. Peaceful, calm, lush flowers, scent. That's me. Totally me. Love that. So it's not out of alignment with what I'm about. But if you say to me, we have a house, Michael, someone is donating to you under the condition, stipulation in their last will that you move here. And it's in, I don't want to name any cities or states, but, okay, there are some that would be like, no. What do you mean? It's a $5 million house. Yeah, but that's not where I would live. You see? Be true to yourself. What are you really about? And you say, some people, yeah, but then it hurts the other people's feelings because I didn't go to their restaurant. I didn't go and watch their movie. I didn't want to live in that place when they gifted me a house. Are you trying to hurt them on purpose? Usually you would say no. Then saying that I'm afraid of hurting them is worthless thought. If you're trying to hurt them, you should be conscientious and look at that. But otherwise, stop. You're actually trying to sabotage your future based on your hypervigilance about hurting other people that isn't even intended to happen. So then you're now hurting yourself and you're sinking along with everybody else and drowning in this life. So two of you asked about that specifically the word heart. That's what it means to follow your heart, to live in your heart, the heart of love. It's not my human heart. It's the heart of love. And the heart of love has to do with being synonymous with self-respect. You see? It's self-love, self-worth. And if you tempt yourself to say, yeah, but that sounds selfish. Stop. That's the church that taught you you're selfish if you follow your bliss. If you consider yourself in situations, it's called selfish. No, it is not. Selfish is for me to stay in my old self. They make it a bad word, self-centered. Actually, I absolutely am committed to being self-centered. Not selfish, self-centered. I am centered in myself, capital S, and myself is God as I understand it, and it's improving every day. How do I know that? Because how would I not be about my Father's work? Meaning, how would I not be doing that which takes me to higher and higher levels every moment? Do I want to date or job from old self? No. Current self? I wouldn't advise it, but I understand it. At least it's progress. My future self. How do I know what my future self would be or look like? Ask yourself, where would you like to be? And then start living based on that. Thinking based on that. The kind of people you hang out with based on that. You're going to have some faux pas here and there. You're going to have some, yes, I'm totally focused on not wishing for a future self, but you're living it in the present. You're letting your future higher self live with you in the present. So you're raising the bar on the present and healing the past. So I pull all that into this moment and I bring more and more and more light to this moment. And I'm going to slip. I might be like cleaning up all these areas of my life, healthier relationships. It's not arrogance. It's not like you write everybody and say, hi, I've become holy and you're no part of that. I have determined that you are not a part of my happiness. But what you can do is say, here's where you can actually do this. To some people, it's appropriate. And here's where I'm going. If this feels like it resonates with you and you would like to go there, let's connect and let's go there. Friends, children, whatever they are to you. If not, if it's, you think I'm nuts, if you think, this, or you think I'm, daydreaming, that's no problem. I wish you well. Love you. Peace out. And move on. It's not casualties as much as, it's not collateral damage as much as it is, I'm just being true to myself. Yeah. It's just, this is who I really am. This is what I'm about. And if people don't get it, don't hate them, but just understand they are over here. They were part of your past life or lives sometimes. They're not really resonating with my present very much, and that's why we're even having this conversation, because something in you knows that there's a tension between, there's a conflict between having certain people or jobs in your life that don't feel congruent. It's just you're not clear enough yet to move completely over here. And if I feel the conflict, I can resolve some of that by being more true to who I want to be. Okay? If you're not going to do it, please own it. If you stuff it, it's going to explode. It's better for you to own it. Well, yeah, I know that in 10 out of areas of where I want to go, 9 of them are all together, but there's this one I'm going to pretend isn't happening. It's okay. 9 out of 10 areas of my life, I cleaned them all up. I got Michael's talk. I really got it, totally got it, cleaned everything up, but I still smoke, or I still drink sometimes, or I still, have naughty thoughts, or whatever it is. Just own it. Just own it. It's okay. Do give it to God. But you don't have to change it all today in this moment. It's okay. Sometimes even laugh about it. Isn't this funny? How I cleaned all this up, but I still have this one thing. It's all right. For all you know, if you got rid of that one, you would ascend. It's a final anchor for you. So it's okay. The bottom line is not to judge. Whether you've only cleaned up one area of your life or 9 out of 10, don't judge the remaining areas. Learn to see them with a little levity. Learn to see them as it's kind of funny, As much as I am awakening and getting it, isn't that weird that I could still have this one thing? Whatever it is, road rage. God, I meditate. I see angels now, and they've given me a new spiritual name. Running by the still waters is my new name. And, and I go and change my name legally, and I move to Sedona, and I've got, I sit and rain stick and peace pipe, and I'm just all chill. And then I get in the street, at the roundabouts, you bastard, just kind of, I'm working on it. It's okay. Because it is kind of silly and it is kind of funny. But where it's hurtful, make amends. Where it's hurtful to others, apologize and make amends. But where it's hurtful to yourself, apologize and make amends. This isn't where I want us to go, so I'm working on that. And when I slip, oops, and then bounce back. Please take a few centering breaths. Breathe into and feel into, for a moment, your body. Can you feel muscles that actually got exercised from laughing? Think about it. Really tune in. You'll find at least something here that shook and vibrated and got a little exercise. And if not, what about tense moments, parts of the body? If there's any tense areas, just tune into them. Where are they? Use enough muscle to sit up and not flop over. But are there any unnecessary tensions? The jaw, the shoulders, tense into them for a moment on an inhale, and then relax them, like extra relax as you exhale. Your back muscles, your neck muscles, hips. Another one of the things someone asked about, true freedom. Start with any muscle that's tense. Become the presence, like Krishna, who is on the chariot with 4 horses pulling the chariot. The 4 horses represented the 4 lower chakras. Your human side pulling you. Or do you take the reins and let them know, as the master, the God self, here's where we're going. True freedom. I'm not following the dictates of mother-in-law, this person, that, not because they're bad people. The church, the state, not because they're bad. It's because they're not where I'm choosing to go. If they are, wonderful. They continue to be a part of our life. Otherwise, here's where I'm going. If one of those animals want to take you in a different direction, just replace the animal. If a food causes you to feel ill, let the food go. The job, or whatever it happens to be, just untether it from the group, free it, and bring in one that is right for you to say, we're going to go in this direction. Can you do that? Are you willing to do that? Clear out all else. True to yourself. Imagine, what are the areas that do not feel like they are part of your ideal future self? Whatever it is. It could be certain words you say or conversations you have. Habits, hobbies that are maybe no longer right for you. Addictions, people, relations, jobs. Just make believe for a moment. Do they fit your future self? Your ideal self. Don't be afraid. If they don't, doesn't mean they're going to be gone tomorrow. We're just looking. Here's where I see myself. Notice that on a 0 to 10 scale, if today you would have rated your overall life, let's say to be a 5, what would you rate that future self? Almost everybody will end up saying a higher number. When I look at my 5-year from now self, it's more like a 7 or an 8. That's beautiful. It's great that I see it, that I own it, and then it's especially great if I start living according to that. As you stand in that light and you look back to your old self, 5 or 55 years ago, your old self, can you see the contrast? It should be pretty obvious. And if you made it this far, chances are you're going to end up making the next leap. What measures do I need to take to start moving to that future self? It doesn't have to be drastic. It doesn't have to be scary. But what measures do I need to take? Certain foods, no. Certain friends, no. Certain, yes. And remember, whatever you want to be, it's already here with you. It's not about geographic changes. It's not just dietary changes. Those are the external rituals of it. It's my acceptance that most determines that I'm going to go in this healthier direction. Balance, centered, all the words you brought up. Balance, centered. I just feel this equanimity, this balance, this peace. I am as God created me. I will to be the Christ on earth. Not the religious version, the living version, the Christ on earth. Peaceful, happy, joyous, playful, spontaneous. The Christ on earth can eat meats or not eat meats. The Christ on earth can still watch certain movies and not watch certain movies. The Christ is a presence. It's not an accomplishment. The Christ on earth can still make love or say no for a day or a lifetime. It just depends on what feels organic and right for it. The Christ on earth can laugh. It's not in a white robe, seamless robe, solemn, being crucified. It's arisen. And I can step into that. And I'm noticing that stepping into my Christ self, I'm feeling the call to dance, to move, to laugh. It's all following this very natural vibration. I feel alive. I smile more. My posture seems straighter. I'm envisioning my future self. I just seem like I'm standing straighter, clearer, feeling brighter. The inhibited self might fade. I might find myself hands on somebody's shoulders more often, giving them healing and relief of tensions. There are children in this world, and many are scared. And when they look at me, I smile. They can see this countenance in me that brings them peace. Can I be like when a child meets me, can I be like an angel? That when they look at me, there's something about me that makes them kind of smile and feel calm. If I work in a hospital, can I be different when I walk in the patient's room? Can they feel like something came into the room that's bringing them hope? Can I be a sponsor in a 12-step group that helps people feel like, oh my God, this isn't going to be as hard as I thought it was. There's hope. There's something about this person. You care. You're in retail. You're selling houses, and you care about the house, not the commission. You care about getting them the right house for them. In retail stores, the right clothing, a paint store, the right colors. You just are in the zone. And if you died a day after this, you will have died at peace. You will have died holding that Christ frequency in a world that's trying so hard to lose that frequency. And we close by just soaking in peace, soaking in what you're feeling. Feel this sense of yes, 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 yes. This is attainable. I can feel it, and it's happening now. The change that I'm choosing is not to shame my old self and look for a perfect self. It's to just say goodbye to unnecessary past patterns and such, and joyfully welcome in a new life. I can see it. I can feel this. This is where I want to go. My very presence makes a difference. And this is only possible because I am as you created me, Father, Mother, God. The symbol of my old self is the one that thought it was separate from God and from itself and from others. That's all it really is. It might look like labels I give it, but the old self is the separated, broken self. My new self, technically, give it labels. I'm healthier, I'm this, that, but those are labels. My future self is ultimately my true self, my Christ self. And in the present self, I'm allowing closure to the old and welcoming in more and more of the true Christ light that I am into my present life, my present self. And my acceptance and baptism of this allows the words from the Holy Spirit. You are my beloved child in whom I am well pleased. And So it is. Thank you. Thank you very much. Just take a moment to stretch out and kind of integrate back into your present moment here with us. Take your time. I'll do a couple of quick announcements, and then we'll take up our collection and do our closing prayer. Remember that we have a healing room here. The yurt out here, it's got a crystal bed in it. You're welcome to check that out and have crystal bed sessions. You can book them at the office or in the bookstore. Also, remember our bookstore, you don't have to pay the tax because it's a nonprofit here, but also we price things a lot less than you're supposed to in retail. So you can save a lot if you're shopping here. And we have packages that we have put together, a book, incense burner card, so that it's easier if you're buying for folks, if you're traveling or you're Airbnb and you want to gift them to your tenants or whatever. You're welcome to look at those. Those are we set several of those aside for people. And do your best, please, to keep arriving at 5 or 10 till, because if we have a guest musician, we usually have them do a song like we did this morning before the service officially begins. And we do have, remember, a new community bulletin board in the foyer. So if you're renting something, looking for something to rent, it's the one specific bulletin board, because we have 2 or 3. One that is for that kind of networking. Every month we do, the start of the month, the first Sunday I do a whole day of prayer, meditation prayer, sharing too, but prayer. So it's kind of just a day of sacred, the whole day, 12 hours of prayer every hour. I'll do, the first hour was when we started the service. The second hour is when we're ending with a prayer. And then the next hour will be in about 40 minutes or so. I'll do that from here. And then after that, every hour is done remotely, but you can watch online and be part of that all day long. You can do whatever you want in between, but we just get together on the hour for a little bit of prayer and connecting, okay? It's a great way to dedicate a whole day, once per month, to connecting with Spirit. And remember, Sunday the 14th, 3 to 5, we have Gabriella Young for a Mother's Day celebration. This is transmissions of poetry. She does a lot of really beautiful work with Rumi and Hafiz and others, including music that'll be presented with John Dumas. All right? So that's May 14th. I think that's it. We do have a new piece of art just outside by the street. You'll see this metallic thing, and it has these glass chakras. It's pretty extraordinary. If you have the means, you can share with us an extra donation to contribute to that. Somebody's gifting that to us, selling it to us really, really affordably, but we loved it when we saw it. We decided we're going to buy that, but we'll pay for that. So probably just this week only, I'll ask if anybody has the extra means. And take a look at it before you split. Out the door to the right, it's facing the street. You'll see it. All righty? We're going to do our prosperity prayer. If you have that with you, you can read it on the paper in front of you, or if you're online, you'll see that posted. Centering. Really feeling that abundance. Really feeling the appreciation that you can give, that you have to give, and then receive tenfold. Divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And so it is. Thank you. So for about a minute or so before we do our closing prayer, can anybody share, what did you learn or hear today that made the most sense, that was the most helpful, that can help you in your life, even if it's what you received during the meditation portion? Can anyone share what they got from today? Yes, dear.
I just loved being told to yourself good things when we were meditating. That's just what I was listening to what you were saying, but I was also doing lots of that
Nice.
Things like deeper faith and just anything.
Right. Right. Thank you. Loving the part that just promising yourself a better life. Yeah, that's wonderful. And thanks for the two of you. Thanks for being with us again. Yeah, it's good to have you folks here. I know you're going to present here musically with us and have a concert down the road. That'll be great to have you. All right. Yes?
One of the things I've been working on in my recovery is to forgive myself for my judgments on my past transgressions, because I've learned from them
Yeah.
and I'm growing from them, and so I can be grateful.
Right. Right. Sweet. Thank you. Yes.
I like the fact that
Sorry. Things you learned from your past that you now are turning into what you can be grateful for. Yes.
my takeaway on this is that getting rid of the old and trying to reach the new and not settling. And it reminded me of my mother 2 years ago, because I've been single, divorced for quite a while. She would say, "How come you're not married? What's your problem?"
Yeah.
I said, "Mom, you raised me."
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you had the mother, what's wrong with you? Why aren't you married? Why aren't you? God. It's great to remember those kinds of stories with Mother's Day coming up. Yes.
I love the idea of authenticity, and God gives me permission to be
Right.
who I am. And
Authenticity.
if I go the wrong direction, maybe it won't be so great. But I really love that, and then also that I can let others be exactly who they are. They don't have to meet my standard.
Yeah. Isn't that cool?
Yes.
Yeah, people don't have to, including you, don't have to live to your standards. You retire all that. And is it really making sense that old self, creating from the old self is not a good idea? Isn't that obvious? Do you see how it's a little confusing? Do I want to create from my present self? That's the me that's working on myself and I'm ready now for a new relationship. But you haven't become your highest self yet. You don't have to be perfect and holy over here, because trust me, if you were, you wouldn't want to date anybody. All right? Because you'd be just so blissed out, none of it would matter. So I'm not saying that. I'm saying just that this is healthiness. And that's a good word to use with family and people like that. I'm just choosing healthiness. That way you don't make it a religious, spiritual decision and, it sounds too far out for them. I'm just going towards healthiness. Would you like to join me? Would you, a family member that would like to join me and support healthiness in this family? 90% of them are going to say no, which is great because now you're apparently you have some extra free time to start creating healthier friends and family members. Okay? All right. And our deepest appreciation for Ananda, our today's musician, Ananda. Yeah, he's got a table in the foyer there, and he can sign autographs or sell CDs or whatever it happens to be. All right, beautiful energy he's got, a great soul, beautiful musician, and I appreciate that you obeyed the signs that said, "Ladies, don't rush the stage." So it was really good that we respect him. And anyway, so very, very cool. Please stand for our closing prayer. Again, tuning in to gratitude. What did we learn? What did we hear? What did we feel? What did I gain from the meditation? This is all me seeing myself, my potential. This isn't about listening to someone talking. This is me, this room, and all around the world, the people watching. Everything I just heard, every musical note, every vibe, every laughter, every insight, they're not happening in a little room with a little person standing in that room hearing something from the middle of the universe somewhere alone. This is, the whole universe is in my mind. All that was talked about, shared, every musical note, every higher vibration, the presence of God. It's all here, wall to wall in my mind, my being. And I see that that means I'm improving a lot. And I'm so grateful. I am on my way home and committed to reaching and being in, living in, the light at the end of the tunnel. Not someday, here and now. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we go, God is, I am, we are, and so it is. Peace be with you all. Thank you.